This is Origin Stories, the Leaky Foundation podcast. I'm Meredith Johnson. For millennia, humans and horses have competed side by side in sports. Polo, jousting, show jumping, dressage, chariot racing. Horses are the only animal still competing with us in the Olympic Games. But documentarian Nicole Teeny wanted to do something different. She didn't want to ride a horse. She wanted to race a horse, herself, on foot, to test out something called the endurance running hypothesis, how distance running made us human. If you love this story, you can dig deeper into Nicole's podcast, Girl v. Horse, on ESPN's 30 for 30.
I've been a runner since middle school. Before that, I was a scrawny, clumsy kid. Not exactly a jock or a ballerina. I couldn't aim, I couldn't catch. I didn't float across the room with elegance. But when I discovered running, I felt powerful. My body made sense to me. Still, I didn't run my first marathon until I turned 30. Like a lot of people, it came after a big life upheaval, a breakup. I'd moved cities, came out as queer, and I was trying to make sense of who I was again.
On your mark, get set, go.
It was tough, but I couldn't believe how well I did. I was hooked. I joined a running club and spent all my weekends doing long runs and chasing finish lines with friends. It wasn't just a hobby. It felt really natural. It felt innate. But I didn't really understand why until about 2 years later. I'd been diagnosed with epilepsy, and suddenly my body had felt like a stranger. Around then, I read the book that everybody had been talking about.
Born to Run.
Born to Run.
Born to Run.
Born to Run.
The book Born to Run by Christopher McDougall absolutely transformed the running community. It was a New York Times bestseller. This was a massive, massive book.
Born to Run. It was a cult classic. And yeah, this was the book that kicked off that craze for those weird toe shoes. But what caught my attention wasn't the shoes. It was chapter 28. It talks about this scientific idea that long-distance running wasn't a sport we just invented. It was something that we evolved to do. The chapter dives into research by paleoanthropologist Dr. Daniel Lieberman and biologist Dr. Dennis Bramble. They called it the endurance running hypothesis. Their hypothesis suggests that the world's best runners aren't cheetahs, antelopes, or any other quadruped. It's humans. It states that when the distances are long enough, humans can outrun almost any animal. And it singles out one animal in particular.
The horse will erupt away from the starting line, but with enough patience and distance, you can slowly close the gap.
When I read that, it blew my mind. A human outrunning a horse? Could I outrun a horse? I couldn't shake the idea. It felt like a dare. Epilepsy had left me feeling unmoored. Running had once helped me find my footing after heartbreak, after coming out. So maybe running could help me evolve into whatever came next. This time, by racing a horse. However, I was up against a tough contender because, let's be real, horses are faster, stronger, and have way more horsepower. I couldn't just show up with a dream and a hydration vest. I needed an edge. So I went to the source of the endurance running hypothesis, hoping that maybe, just maybe, I had a shot.
So my research is on the evolution of the human body, and I'm especially interested in
how and why we evolved to be physically active, and how
Dr. Daniel Lieberman is a professor of human evolutionary biology at Harvard and a scientific executive committee member of the Leakey Foundation. And he's one of the people behind the endurance running hypothesis. But when I told him my plan,
Well, first of all, the whole idea of a race between humans and horses is pretty preposterous. So,
okay, dang, Dr. Lieberman, tell me how you really feel.
we didn't evolve to race horses, right? We evolved to hunt them.
The origin of my competition and myself goes back way further than my middle school gym class. Back in the day, we might see vultures in the air and then follow them to dead carcasses way off in the distance.
If you run to get there, you'll get there before hyenas and other scavengers or carnivores. So that's probably how we initially evolved to run. But one thing that makes humans different is that we have really large brains. In order to grow a big brain, you have to have a lot of energy available to you. Brains don't store energy. Brains have to be fed constantly.
So eventually, scavenging and skimping over leftovers wasn't going to cut it. We needed fat, we needed protein, and we needed a reliable way to get them. However, our ancestors wouldn't invent any real weapons for at least another 1.5 million years. No spears, no arrows.
Like sharpened sticks and rocks. And trust me, you do not want to try to kill most animals with just a sharpened stick. That might be your last thing you do in your life, right? So if you want to be a carnivore, you better be able to run.
But humans aren't the only animals that can run. Not to mention, we are at a keen disadvantage. Most creatures are quadrupeds. They've got 4 legs, and we have only got 2.
You have basically half the number of cylinders in your engine, right? You can only produce power with 2 legs instead of 4 legs. So even the world's fastest runners, the Usain Bolts of the world, are really pretty slow compared to most quadrupeds. Nobody can beat a horse over 100 yards. But what we've become specialized for is for endurance running, for really long distance running.
So maybe this is why running felt so natural to me. Our ancestors were like me, distance runners. Now this gives me hope.
We probably evolved to do persistence hunting, in which you pick an animal, the bigger the better, and you chase it in the heat.
You basically wear down your prey to the point of exhaustion. The animal sprints up ahead, hides in the shade, and rests. But we keep tracking it down and chasing it, again and again, until eventually the animal collapses from heat exhaustion and voila, dinner is served.
And so running enabled us to have lots of high quality calories, lots of fat, all of which helped us evolve big brains.
And that ability to keep going, that's our superpower. And it comes from a whole series of adaptations, literally from our head stabilizing shoulders all the way down to our short toes. With our springy long legs, giant glutes, and strong hearts, humans are wired for distance. But our real secret weapon...
No animal can sweat as well as human beings. We are the champion sweaters.
Sweat is our body's built-in cooling system. It evaporates off the skin, carrying the heat away with it. And being able to regulate our body temperatures and our brains is what allows us to keep going when other animals have to bow out. And there are very few other creatures that can sweat. But guess who else can? Yup, the horse. But their sweat is oily and thick. It clings. Our sweat, however, is watery, much faster to evaporate, making the horse the perfect adversary. So even though I don't have 4 legs, I might still have a leg up.
So if you want to increase your odds of beating a horse in a race, the longer the race and the hotter it is, the more likely you are going to overcome the horses. That is, of course, if you're a reasonably trained runner who can run long distances and handle the heat.
So that means if this hypothesis is correct, then if I, Nicole Teeny, were going to race a horse, I'd need heat, distance, training, and a whole lot of sweat. But it still felt so theoretical. Just some hypothetical theory in a faraway distant past. Not something actually possible for me. That is, until Dr. Lieberman told me about someone else.
My colleague and friend Louis Liebenberg down in South Africa has spent time documenting the last persistence hunters in the Kalahari Desert. And he's collected data and published really beautiful studies about how they do it.
Turns out, this kind of hunting isn't just a thing of the past.
I'm Louis. I'm a tracker. So I've been focusing on the tracking skills of indigenous Kalahari San hunter-gatherers since 1985, and I've learned my own tracking skills by hunting and tracking with them.
Louis Liebenberg is a conservationist, master tracker, and a computer scientist. For decades, he'd studied with the San hunters in the Kalahari Desert. Now, normally the San hunted with bow and arrow, but one day was different. They were tracking kudu, a large antelope, but the grass was too tall to see the animals, and the heat that day was exceptionally intense.
So it came as a bit of a surprise. There was a perfectly healthy male kudu, and then with no weapons, and then they decided to run down the kudu. And that's how I fortuitously learned about persistence hunting.
The conditions were brutal, just shy of fatal. Persistence hunts usually happen between 100 and 106 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 38 to 41 degrees Celsius. And at those temperatures, survival isn't guaranteed. It's a deadly gamble. Persistence hunting may be an ancient method. It's not a relic, because people still practice this kind of hunting right now, today. People like Unta Oma. Louis introduced me to Kunta, who lives in the Nine-Night Conservatory in Namibia. He's one of the few remaining hunters still keeping this practice alive. Dom Debbie translates for him.
I have to wake up early in the morning before sunrise. To that, I stay in the bush and I have to look out for animal tracks.
Kunta can read the tracks as though it's a secret code or another language. There's a lot he can tell about who made these tracks and when.
Whenever I look whether it's a male or a female. Whenever I found a male, I start tracking down it. And as it starts running, I run after it.
At that point, the chase is on. Kunta chases the animal in and out of the shade over and over again. He's trying to tire it out in the blazing sun so it overheats. And that is when Kunta points out some counterintuitive advice.
Whenever you found an animal and it starts running, it not means that you have to run faster, you need to run slower.
This is a game of who can outlast whom. Like a lethal game of tag. But Kunta has something the animal doesn't have: endurance. He maintains an average pace of about 10-minute miles or so, and many of these chases fall within the 3 to 5 hour range, which interestingly matches the average time for most marathon runners.
When you see that you run after it and it stops, it means that you're getting weaker and you're getting slower. Then it means that you have to adding more speed to yourself. You can find it will easily fall down. And from there you can get the spear and kill it.
The practice was almost dying out in his community when, in 2017, Kunta and a few others went to their elders and they asked them if they could teach them persistence hunting. Kunta is pushing to revitalize it in his community as a form of self-reliance. As I listened, I couldn't help but wonder if they could chase down a kudu. Could I chase down a horse? I wasn't the only one wondering how I'd fare in a rundown. Louis Liebenberg wasn't satisfied just hearing about persistence hunting either. He wanted to try it out for himself. So he asked another group of hunters to let him join. They reluctantly said okay, but Louis had heavy boots, no training, no prep, and no idea what to do. Soon he was falling behind.
I was quite exhausted, but concentrating on the tracking is so intense that it drives you ahead. You see the tracks of the kudu, you can see he's starting to get tired, and as you visualize the galloping motion of the kudu, it's almost like you feel the motion of the kudu in your own body to the point where it almost induces these trance-like states where you actually feel like you've become the animal.
But unlike the hunters, Louis wasn't prepared.
I wasn't aware of the state of my own body. I just kept on pushing ahead. And I had this cold sensation going through my whole spine, and by the time I got to the kudu, I was no longer sweating.
As they ran, Louis had lost 10% of his body weight in water. And if he didn't cool down, he'd be as dead as that kudu. Luckily, Louis wasn't alone. The hunter who'd already outran the kudu took off running again, this time to save Louis.
As they gave me a water bottle, the first thing they said to me is, "Don't drink it, it will kill you." So the first thing you have to do is you have to wet your hair to cool your brain, and then you slowly drink just sip by sip till you recover.
The hunters knew exactly what to do and how to save him. Listening to Louis, I felt the weight of his story. This wasn't just about survival. It was about that razor-thin line between pushing your limits and crossing them. I wondered, what would happen when I hit my line? Louis nearly died doing the very thing that I was about to try, testing human endurance against a quadruped.
You're not chasing the horse because you want to eat it, but you're testing yourself against the horse in the same way that in persistence hunting, the horse will start sweating and panting, and you starting to sweat and pant, and you need to gauge, can you outrun this horse or can't you?
Louis had shown me the line. I just needed to get close, but without crossing it. Although I wanted to win, I didn't want to die. So if I were going to do my own version of a persistence hunt, I needed to do things differently. So I started planning. I knew I needed to train, but I also needed a horse and an actual race. A race that left both of us, me and the horse, very much alive. So I got to researching. Come to find out, I'm not the only person who's tried to race a horse. There's actually a long, rich history of humans lining up against horses, including, but not limited to, an ancient Celtic goddess who outran a royal chariot while pregnant. In the 1800s, it was a really hot thing amongst Victorian showmen. There was a 1950s game show contestant who tried it, and even the legendary Olympic sprinter Jesse Owens has gone head to hoof against the mighty steed. Which brings us to today. There's not one, but two official human versus horse races still going on. One is in Wales and it's called Man versus Horse, and the other is in the Sedona Mountains of Arizona called Man against Horse. Both have been around since the 80s. Both, despite their archaic names, are open to all genders, and both, of course, started as barbettes. However, they both also leaned competitive. Serious elite runners with serious elite times. I was hoping for something a bit more low-key. Just me and the horses. And then I learned that the horse portion of those races is actually a whole separate sport unto its own. It's called endurance riding. Horses and riders cover long distances, and they've got mandatory breaks and veterinary checks along the way. This ensures the horse's safety. If a horse is overheated or struggling, it is immediately pulled from the race. And that is when it clicked. That system wasn't just smart and humane, it was familiar. It reminded me of something Louis, Kunta, and Dr. Lieberman had all emphasized. During a real persistence hunt, the prey, like the kudu, doesn't run non-stop until it collapses. It slows down, finds shade, and recovers. And that is when the hunter gains on them. So running alongside an endurance ride recreates that logic without the dying part. That made sense to me. So while no, I wasn't going to go chase anything through the Kalahari, maybe I could find an endurance ride. I just needed one to let me in. I was wondering if you would be open to a two-legged individual joining your four-legged individuals.
But so you don't have a horse?
I don't have a horse.
That's a new one?
Oh, for goodness sake.
I had a spreadsheet with over 100 rides. It took a few tries to explain that, yes, I wanted to run on foot. No, I don't have a horse. And yes, I understood that it was unusual. I kept calling and calling different rides to no avail. I was running out of rides. And I was about to give up when I got in touch with Melissa Martinez. So I'm just wanted to see if that's something you would be open to.
You mean not bring a horse, just run the trails?
Horseless. Yeah. Melissa manages an endurance ride called Ride Like the Wind. It's held in late April in Big Hill Lake, Kansas. The course was 50 miles, and the forecast was predicted to be hot. It was everything I'd been looking for. Melissa paused. Oh no, I thought. She's gonna say no.
To be honest, I'm a first-time ride manager, so this is my first time managing a ride, and I've never had that question before. I just don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let me think about it, she said. But when we hung up, I didn't hold my breath. I assumed she'd just say no like all the others. But a few days later, it was Melissa.
I contacted my central region representative, and we would be open to you running along the trails with the horses. But
I couldn't believe it. She said yes. Then there was the hard part. Training. So I laced up my sneakers and I hit the streets of New York. Cue the training montage. My feet. Pounding, my arms, pumping, my breath, pushing, and my sweat dripping. I ran on good days. I ran on bad days. Through parks, city streets, trails, and I ran through at least 5 pairs of shoes. But most crucially, I ran in the heat. So much so that I nearly grew a 3rd eyebrow of salt. And with it, very strong opinions about chafing cream. But feeling my ancestors' sweat on my forehead spurred me on. Somewhere though, after a year of training, between the knee injuries, getting lost on the trails, and a few breakdowns, I started to question it all. What am I doing? Who races a horse? Like Louis, I was towing the line between pushing my limits and pushing too far. But I reminded myself, the horses at Melissa's race weren't slowing down their training, so I didn't either. And then, after a year of training, it was finally time.
And all carry-on baggage stowed until the aircraft is parked at the gate.
The night before the big race, I arrived at Ride Like the Wind in Big Hill Lake, Kansas. But this wasn't the flat, golden wheat fields like the postcards. No. This was dense with forest, steep hills, and unseasonably cool weather. Not ideal when your supposed evolutionary superpower is sweating. Base camp was buzzing. Horses and humans everywhere. Melissa, the ride manager, whistled. The pre-ride meeting was about to start. We all crammed under a campground awning.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to keep it short. We do have a runner here today. She's going to run with the 50-mile horses. Oh, where are you, Nicole? She's right here. Nicole flew here for this ride from New York City. It's Nicole's dream to beat one of the horses.
I smiled and waved, but inside my heart hammered in my chest. Everyone else had a horse, but all I had was a hydration vest and a dream. Maybe it was ridiculous to think I'd beat even one of these beasts. I was about to put my evolution to the test. The next morning, the sun was barely up, but already base camp was stirring. It was almost go time. Melissa gave a warning.
Be careful because my front runner is going to complete the first 20 in an hour and a half. So he will be flying, and if he doesn't see you, they're fast. They're fast, so just please don't get hurt.
There'd be 18 horses out there on the trail with me. But on the sidelines, my mom, my dad, and my fiance, Marielle, were there to cheer me on.
You feeling nervous? Feeling good? Feeling excited?
A little of both. A little nervous, a little excited. Yeah. It's crazy that it's actually here now.
I know,
but still hope I beat a horse.
Texas. 1 minute!
Guys, it's really happening. Oh my God. Judgment Day. Like the hunter who set out with nothing but patience and grit, I was about to find out if I could close the gap.
Trail is open!
I start my watch, and I'm off.
Starting GPS.
The horses start a bit ahead of me, but that's okay. That was part of the plan because the trail is narrow. There are 2 mandatory vet checks along the course where the horses will stop, rest, and be examined. And like in a persistence hunt, when the prey pauses to cool down, the hunter closes in. For my race, these vet checks are my chance to catch up. About a mile in, I spot my first horse up ahead. The rider is dismounted and tells me that her horse needs a moment. So I gently pass them and then record into my trusty phone.
So, actually passed my first horse. Horse was feeling a little anxious, had to slow down to pass it. Second to last at this point. So strong start, but I'm gonna go focus.
But it's not 10 minutes later when I hear hoofbeats. That same horse now passes me. I'm dead last. For now, at least. I just put my head down and I keep on running. My goal is to reach the first vet check at mile 20.
Distance, 17, 18, 19, 20 miles.
I roll up into that first vet check. I haven't seen a soul since that first horse. And then I see my fiance, Marielle, running towards me. She asks me how I'm feeling.
Hi. How are you doing?
I actually feel pretty good. This is like 20 maybe. Even though I'm still in last place, I'm hopeful.
And they're going to do another vet check, so just pace yourself.
Distance, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 miles.
I cross the marathon threshold. But I'm getting tired. So I break up the race into pieces. 50 miles is just 4 half marathons. I can do that, right? A horse-sized goal broken down. But then the horses start passing me again. 1, 2, 5. The loops in the trail are making it hard to tell who's ahead and who's behind.
Distance, 33, 34, 35 miles.
I pull into the final vet check. My family swarms me with snacks and support. I am aching, but this is my last window. I hear there are only 5 horses behind me. I gotta go. This is my one chance.
Are you good for the bridge?
I'm good for the bridge. This is my last chance.
Band-aids.
Okay, get ahead of them. I hear some horses. Okay, I think this means I have to go, you guys.
All right.
Okay.
Go after it.
Go for it.
Thank you. At this point, the miles are no longer adding up. They're compounding, like interest in a growing bank of pain. Marielle links up with me for a moment to give me fresh water.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. I am absolutely exhausted.
Your body's being pushed to the limit.
I feel like I'm gonna vomit. Oh, I can't stop. I hurt everywhere.
Yeah, don't stop. You've got this.
Marielle hands me water and we part ways. I was reaching that crossroad that Louis was talking about. I was testing myself against the horses, just like the persistence hunters were testing themselves against the kudu. But would I collapse, or could I outrun a horse?
Distance, 40, 41, 42 miles.
I hear hoofs again. The final 2 horses.
Is the last person behind me? This is you guys. Oh my God. There, I'm losing.
With 7 miles left, I know I can't keep the pace. I step aside and I let them pass. Defeat washes over me. I can't help but wonder, were humans ever able to outrun quadrupeds? Or is it just me that can't? Then I see Marielle approaching. She's running towards me. She runs beside me for a stretch, encouraging me.
We're so proud of you, Habibi.
And I remember Louis' story. During his persistence hunt, he didn't go alone. When he struggled and was on the brink of death, the hunters saved him. He had his clan, and now I have mine. Encouraged, Marielle and I part ways one final time. Slow and steady, I remind myself, just like Kunta said.
I'm almost there. I'm almost to camp. I can do it.
The last few miles are out and back. I reach the turnaround point. I've made my peace that maybe I won't outrun a horse, but I want to finish strong. A few minutes later, I see a horse approaching. Only it's going towards the turnaround point. Wait, are there horses behind me?
Distance 48 miles.
Then I pass another. And another.
Distance 49 miles.
I push through the final mile. I emerge from the trail. The crowd is cheering, riders, volunteers, and my family.
Is this the end?
The end's up here, past the ponies.
She did it! There! There she is!
A few riders stretch a length of caution tape across the trail. I dig deep, raise my arms, and charge through.
Distance 50 miles.
You made it!
Oh,
wow.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, you guys. That was hard.
I take a deep breath, and I exhale. It's over. A couple of riders come over to talk to me.
like to say you did a great job. Way to go out there.
You beat 8 horses.
No.
Yeah. There are 8 50-mile horses still on trail.
8 of them.
Yep.
Whoa.
Like 8 running horses?
8 horses haven't come in yet.
There's 8 horses out there.
Girl, you impressed me. That was fun.
It's true. I cannot believe I beat 8 horses. I honestly cannot believe that. Like, I was very certain I was dead last many different times. It's pretty emotional. It's weird. One horse and rider cross the finish line and then trot over towards me.
Good job, Nicole.
Hi, buddy.
Beat the ponies.
Can I give the horse a high five?
Yeah. He's done. He's like, oh. Oh, done.
My arms are zigzagged with crusty, dry salt. Evidence that my sweat had done its job, evaporating and carrying away the heat. Marielle points over to the horses. They're still damp, still covered in a thick, white, gooey lather.
Nicole, our famous runner. Woo! We had 18 horses in the 50, and if Nicole was a competitor in our ride, she would have came in number 11 out of 19 if we add her in. So she did really well.
My heart races, but this time from joy. I did it. Like, that's solidly middle of the pack. Like, if I were out on the Kalahari Desert, like, I would have feasted. I join my family and the riders over by the grill. We swap stories, laugh, and congratulate each other. And at this point, I'm hungry enough to eat a whole horse, though I'm fairly certain that's against ride rules. I don't know how I would have fared during a persistence hunt, but in that moment, I felt a redefined sense of the human potential. Maybe I wasn't the fastest, but today, I kept up. I endured. That horse might not have gone down, but I didn't either.
If you want to hear the full story, you can listen to Nicole's 4-episode series, Girl v. Horse, on ESPN 30 for 30, about her journey to battle epilepsy by racing against horses. Origin Stories is a project of the Leakey Foundation, a donor-supported nonprofit dedicated to human origins research and education. If you can, please support our show and our mission to advance public understanding of human origins, evolution, behavior, and survival. Every donation will be matched, so your impact will be doubled. Go to leakeyfoundation.org/origin stories or click the link in your show notes. This episode was written and produced by Nicole Teeny. Our editor is Audrey Quinn. Sound design and mixing by Ray Pang. This show is made possible by our generous listener supporters, with additional funding from Jeannie Newman, the Anna Gordon Getty Foundation, and the Joan and Arnold Travis Education Fund. We'll be back next month with another new story. Thanks for listening.